Hey everybody, welcome to Hear Us Out. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Paul. How's it going?
Good, we're going to do something a little bit different. Folks, anybody who's seen any of our stuff, we don't usually talk politics unless it's actually a movie about politics or a TV show about politics, because there are many great ones. Um, but realistically, we can't avoid the fact that the culture wars, the political moving and shaking, it's all really starting to blend in to the movie industry and the entertainment industry in general. And I think the thing that's really pulled this into sharp focus, Paul, is the nomination by Trump of some people that we'll talk about in a moment to be special
hmm
envoys or ambassadors. But I would like to get a quick disclaimer. Anything I say is what I'm saying. It does not represent Paul, okay? And anything Paul says does not
Yeah.
represent me. We're two people, because this could get fairly contentious. We're going to say what we think, and we're not going to, nobody should be throwing the other person under the bus because they don't like what I said. And really, we did a video that we very much enjoyed talking previously about separating art from the artist. The Will Smith slap being a great example. Would you go back and watch a Will Smith movie after he did something that was so obviously wrong in public? We did not touch politics really at that time. We're not going to be talking about separating art from the artist solely in this, because we're going to talk about separating people's political views from your own political view when it comes to enjoying entertainment. Because let's face it, Paul, this is all supposed to be entertainment. Some of it can be educational, some of it can be purely entertainment. But we're starting to get blurred lines between people's feelings about the people behind or even on the screen as opposed to the characters and the stories that are being told.
Yeah. So this kind of separation from artists thing that we were kind of going to be going down is more in the sense of not the it's a political thing rather than like an action, I guess, where Will Smith was a slap. We're going to talk about actors who may not share our views politically, and which is and how we kind of how we can watch them on screen with
Yeah.
those kind of differences, kind of thing. So,
Yeah, and like I say, it was this man that I'm pulling up on screen, giving off that Eye of Sauron energy that he seems to be capturing in this particular photo. Donald Trump, um, a divisive figure who it's gonna. I'm not going to bury any lead here. I'm obviously not a fan of his as a rage-filled, retribution-seeking kind of guy. I don't think he's what I would ever want in a leader of a country. Instead of bringing people together, he likes to push them apart. But he has opened the door to this conversation because of his choices for what he's coming up with the idea that Hollywood's failing and they need some special ambassadors, some special envoys. And he chose Mel Gibson, John Voight, and Sylvester Stallone.
mhm.
Paul, I think it's fair enough. If you don't mind me just saying this straight off the bat, Mel Gibson has a good old public history, and he's adding to it by the day with every interview he gives, of being, put politely, a bit kooky, a little crazy, a little bit, a little bit cartoon character loopy, or as I'd like to think of it, he's somebody that I just never want to meet. Because he seems to be completely, he's lost his gourd, essentially. He's off his rocker.
Yeah, he's I guess with the nomination of a special envoy to Hollywood, he's kind of been given permission to express more of his extreme political views. And Mel Gibson is the kind of has the kind of energy to really kind of like drive those views home in conversations and stuff like that. He has a very interesting energy when he comes to interviews about these kind of things. But yeah, no, these three gentlemen are essentially special envoys. What that means is they will hopefully help shape the movies to come out of Hollywood and stuff like that. Now, these are interesting people to choose, um, because obviously because of their support of the Republican Party, specifically Trump as well.
Yeah,
Kind
which
of
I
thing.
have no problem with. Just to be clear, this is not
Nope.
about Republicans or Democrats, Christians or atheists, any of that stuff, which is what The why we have to talk about this is because people are trying to make it that. And there's a whole lovely big grifting economy around creating these culture wars so that we can start all hating each other, and then, a-holes on YouTube can make money out of it. That's not us. But
Yeah.
being a Republican is one thing. Supporting Trump and being full MAGA, that's another thing. But people like Mel Gibson and John Voight in particular have a long history of, documented history of some fairly distasteful behavior and views that I don't think anybody will openly endorse, so much so, Mel Gibson's had to apologize for many things that have been. I'm not going to go back into it, but I think anybody that wants to go and find out what he said to people in recorded conversations in the past is disgusting and beyond distasteful. And also, Paul, these are three elder statesmen of Hollywood. I'm again trying to be nice about this. It's Trump choosing them and saying this is sending an obvious message that he sends with everything he does. People who support me are my friends. There's
Yeah.
nothing
So
wrong with Hollywood. No one's trying to fix Hollywood here. He's just trying to, shake more water, make more waves, and nominate, his friends for a media position. Because he's like, these people would be nice to me. They're famous. I'd like to get some reflected glory. But when you pick someone like Mel Gibson, who is so vocally dangerous about so many things, that's where I start having difficulty. Because I didn't want to have to talk about Mel Gibson ever outside of his actual work. Because I think Hacksaw Ridge, great movie. Will I watch it again? Yes. Do I like lots of Mel Gibson's work? Yes. Do I dislike some of his work? Yes. But I can separate the art from the artist in that respect. Now it's kind of been pushed into our territory of entertainment, and I don't like that.
yeah, like this is to also to put the special envoys to Hollywood appointed by the president are nothing new. They happen every time a new president gains office. Sometimes they continue on if like with Obama, who won a second term, he changed some of his special envoys. They're essentially people who are trying to specifically direct the Hollywood's kind of response to what's going on and kind of get the the pulse of Hollywood and the White House. They're like interim kind of people. Um, so yeah, but choosing these specific people have gotten a message through, which is, as you said, the two Mel Gibson and Voight are very staunch Trump supporters. Stallone, I feel, is a little bit of an unfair one. He is a supporter of the Republican Party, kind of thing. He does have some views that I do question, but he does seem to be more supporting the Republican Party rather than its leadership. Very much like Arnold Schwarzenegger has in the past. And stuff like that. So there are some differences here with the kind of these special envoys, but this does send a staunch message of kind of going where the direction of Hollywood or where Trump wants Hollywood to kind of go,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Which is yes, as you say, my friends will get special privilege or special kind of positions in so that they can help me essentially maybe flock because we all know that Hollywood is staunchly left supporting in a lot of ways, kind of thing. But
Historically.
that's
Yeah.
only yeah, but that is also a very one-sided view of Hollywood as well. There are plenty of which is Republican and right kind of actors and directors and producers, as we said with Mel Gibson as well. He is an actor and director who is right leaning. Um, and it hasn't essentially mostly phased Hollywood to have kind of a mix of these political views,
Yeah.
kind of things. It is the one place, as we've talked about before, it is the one place where we kind of hoped that politics wouldn't come into it as much, kind of thing. But we've come to this, I guess, this jumping off point where we have to kind of go, where is the line on kind of the artist and the artist, so the artist and the art kind of things. As we said, actually in which is Lisa comment there, Gary Oldman has voted for Trump, which is but he is a supporter of Republicans and his He's
Yeah,
also
and
defended Mel Gibson. It's a surprise of certain people who kind of support the Republican Party and like in Hollywood and stuff. You
yeah,
would think that they were all a certain way
they're
leaning.
all liberal lefties. That's the general view of Hollywood. That's true that it's majority. And you know what? Gary Oldman being a Republican, fine, fair enough. Enjoy. Everybody should be able to be whatever they want. That's all cool. And the thing I'll say for somebody like Gary Oldman, if somebody can point me to him being a corrosive and divisive person, then I'll start throwing him in the same boat as the likes of Mel Gibson. But to the very point of all this, it still won't necessarily affect how I view the work that they've done, because to make a movie is not one person; it's a lot of people. It's why I've always historically had an issue with this idea that, oh, I don't like that person, therefore anything they've touched is tainted. Well, a movie is essentially a company. It's, hundreds and hundreds of people coming together to make something happen. And I think it would be wrong for anybody to expect. And actually, Paul, I'll tell you what, I'll pull up some of the, historically, you say Hollywood has been the Meryl Streeps, the Timothy Chalamets, the Jane Fondas, who, have done things to rub the other side from their view up the wrong way sometimes. And they do tend to be the ones rewarded with the shiny baubles, the Oscars and other things like that. So there's definitely a left lean to it all. But I think the point you were making that I think is so crucial to all of this, entertainment is where everybody should be coming together. It is never the where it needs to be looked at to see how we can divide people, left and right. And let's face it, folks, if Hollywood's been very left up until now, then if you're a diehard liberal lefty out there right now, and you're like, oh well, I wouldn't watch anything made by any of these Republican types. Oh, don't like it. Well, that's really crappy of you. Because what about all the massive majority, let's call it, of Hollywood's output that is made by and for lefties? Well, the right have been watching it for years without complaining too much. My big concern is it's the ones that are complaining now and the ones that are trying to create division and find things and nitpick things and Ghostbusters 2016 things where you can't look at a movie and go, that's objectively bad. But you have to start out from the, women. Those type of idiots. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, it's one of these things where we've kind of come like storytelling and movie making and everything. The entertainment industry has a way of essentially bringing us together. We always root for the good guys. We hate the bad guys. That's the kind of thing that we kind of do. There's a lot of also storytelling is able to show messages and challenge our views on things, and this needs to be allowed to happen kind of openly and without restrictions and stuff. So that's the kind of view that I specifically have, is that the entertainment needs to be free of these kind of things. So
Yeah.
I think, like, I feel and I hope that, like, even with these envoys, that everybody leaves kind of a certain view and stuff like that at the door of the studio, and then goes in and lets us tell the message and stuff like that. There is certain worries in with envoys and with certain presidents and kind of entertainment being used as a propaganda machine, kind of thing, which is to tell falsehoods and to, so I guess where entertainment is traditionally kind of helps us to laugh and love and be entertained and maybe challenge our views and entertain, and give us messages. The challenge our views and messages have been kind of I guess going along with a social kind of like understanding, a morality in which society has continued to learn and evolve and everything like that, but it's been free to do so. The worry now is that with certain, like, with envoys and stuff like that, like this, that story might be restricted a little bit, which once again will stifle essentially the ability to separate art from artists.
Hmm.
If we start seeing Mel Gibson directing, like, the story of Donald Trump's, epic journey towards the White House, and it's filled with essentially falsehoods and things that are like factually provable, like that they are untrue, kind of thing. It's no longer essentially trying to be open and free of essentially the political kind of I guess impacts or I guess what would it be, kind of I guess uh,
Influence.
forcefulness, yeah, influence, kind of thing. And we need to keep that open, um, because we need challenges on both sides. So we need to
Yeah.
be, we can't just, continue. We can't be in an echo chamber on ourselves. We need to be challenged, and that's what we generally are, kind of thing. So that's my only thing with Hollywood and artists and this kind of thing is, if it starts restricting stories because they do not tell the story that maybe the MAGA and the Republican Party and people in power wants to say,
Mm.
that might become little bit more kind of it will become a lot more this is divisive, kind of thing. But right now there's very little of that kind of movement, kind of thing. A lot of directors and writers are able to freely, obviously, write what they want
Hmm.
and stuff like that. But in the coming 4 years, we're going to have to watch this closely, kind of thing. But I'm hoping, Hollywood has gone through plenty of rough times, and
Mm.
they've already gone through 4 years of which goes of Trump before. So I don't think there's going to be too much to change, kind of thing. So
Yeah, and I guess I suppose where I'm coming from on all this is, yeah, like as you say, these people have always been doing this sort of thing, and yeah, of course you employ your friends. Like that's again no brainer. People who align with your views are the ones that you're going to put in positions. That again, fine. Also, I think anybody can make anything they want, and they can bring their viewpoint to it. You can choose to like it, you can choose to dislike it, whatever that may be. The thing that I think is different now than ever before is not specific to Republicans or the right or anything like that. It's specific to the idea that there was never really a state sponsorship of the idea of being divisive. Everybody was a little bit more grown up previously. If I I'm going to use that phrase, and I think people know what I mean. There was a bit more. There was a bit more of an adult in the room to go, well, we don't mess around with that kind of divisive, childish talk, which is what's now happening, which is where these grifters and where all the YouTube hate mongers who are like, yeah, we can really make stuff out of this. It's because and you hear people now say, we won. It's like, well, who won? Like, oh, sorry, Donald Trump and the Republican Party won. Yes. And fair play, they won deservedly. So if more people voted, then great. That's the way the country should be. Good, great. But it doesn't mean that the little hate spewers on YouTube that are like, yeah, I make my money out of making you dislike your neighbor because they're not the same religion or same political viewpoint as you or same gender or whatever the hell it might be. Those people have never been emboldened previously by a state sponsorship of Hollywood in this way. That's why this all seems very subtle and very silly because like it is. It's a made up job. Like it's existed, but it's not. This is not Secretary for you know
oh yeah,
Defense. This is not Homeland Security. This is not something serious. But it is sending a lovely message to a bunch of people going, yeah, yeah, yeah. Keep making sure that you're out there going, this is wrong, DEI is wrong. People who use woke, by the way, anybody out there right now, I don't want to offend any of my friends, but if you use the word woke in a non ironic way, I probably do think less of you in that moment. Because it's a
uh,
stupid phrase that needs to disappear at this point. And I'm now concerned that the whole world seems to have taken the recent election the wrong way. A new party took power, a different one to the previous one. A new president, a different one to the previous one. That should happen. There are two and more than two sides to all of this. Nothing's wrong with any of that. What's wrong is the behavior of saying, you know what we can do now? We can say, we won, you're wrong, you've all been lording this over us, we're now going to get you back. We're going to get revenge. that is not something that I want to have to consider when we're talking about entertainment, Paul, because that's what we're supposed to be doing. Talking about storytelling, the great unifying thing that everybody, no matter what their view is, can watch the same movie, be it politically a political story or not. But like I've got a list of right leaning, let's say, Trump supporters in Hollywood. A lot of these people, I like a lot of their work, so I mightn't share their politics. That doesn't matter. Like Kelsey Grammer, Frasier is there. You know, I still
Mm.
love Cheers. I don't have an issue with any of these people as having a different view than me, but I don't want to have to consider that at all. And it's starting to go that way that people are bringing it up.
Yeah, just want to say that your camera
Oh,
has frozen.
I'll
I didn't
fix
want
that.
to. I didn't want
Thank you.
to
Oh, no
rush in
problem.
for your third thoughts. But yeah, it is true. It's the fact is that we will have to like I guess it's action and intent kind of thing. As in, if they still want to continue to make movies and stories, which just with like they have before, then I don't think there's going to be any problems. I guess the intent and action behind those is going to become where it becomes more difficult to support the work, kind of thing. If Mel Gibson is going to direct a film and it's now they won't hire particular certain people for the crew and I'd be more kind of like, well, that's a film and I don't feel comfortable watching in any kind of way. I'm probably going to boycott it because of the action and the intent there, kind of thing. That's the kind of level of which it, when it becomes part of the product, then it's becoming more difficult. It's not, sorry, I shouldn't say it's more difficult. It becomes easy to push back and go, okay, I'm no longer going to support this work. But as long as we're continuing as we plan to go on, I guess, then I'm perfectly fine with separating politics from entertainment and continuing that way. So that, yeah, it's become this kind of sticky wicket kind of thing where there's two things. As Patrick has been saying, there's people on the internet and people in the entertaining like industry who are pushing this narrative of essentially that things are going to change and we're going to only put out the things that we want to put out and all this kind of like element. They're falsehoods essentially. Whatever is going to entertain the audiences and stuff like that. That's what's going to kind of move
Yeah.
forward. That's the way that the business side works. If it's entertaining, if it's good, that's what's going to kind of going to get released. There's no kind of like well, like the movie Freedom. What is this?
Sound of Freedom. Yeah, I
Sound of
figured
Freedom.
this might come up.
Yeah, this particular film is very much telling a specific story, which is more kind of like influenced by essentially ideas of MAGA and that kind and the organization there. Uh, this has not done well. As much as the propaganda has said that it's doing amazingly, or it did amazingly and stuff like that, it has not. And the reason for that is because that it is not entertaining. The politics are too thick in the mix of creation and stuff like that. That's why it hasn't done so well. So it means that these kind of movies are not going to they'll be pushed. More than likely, some directors and actors will try to push these. Sound of Freedom got made, but you'll see them less and less because as the business side kind of steps in more and more and kind of goes, well, these aren't making as much as they
Well, I,
as John Wick
I might
5.
have a weird view on the Sound of Freedom that's going to surprise some people. Uh, like, there's something anybody who doesn't know this about the movie. There was a campaign as part of this that said, essentially, go and buy a ticket, not just for yourself, but buy a ticket and donate it to your friends. Like the reason Sound of Freedom showed up with the substantial box office that it did for the movie that it was. I'm glad they make it. Make whatever. People make bad movies all the time. People make movies and call them based on a true story that are still completely inaccurate. People make stuff with their own horrible tinted angle towards it. And they can make, this movie is made to rile up a certain group of people. Do I think that riling them up is a good thing? No. Should the movie not be made because I think that? No. Make the movie. My problem is The Sound of Freedom, I think, was a perfect example, and one of the first perfect examples of massive box office success without actually people being in seats to see it. Because there were so many tickets sold that we're not actually occupied by humans. The campaign was, this will show them. This will show them that we're out there and we have a voice. You shouldn't do that when it comes to, like, do that in all sorts of ways. But entertainment, you should have to watch the damn thing and decide whether or not it was good or bad for yourself. It cannot just be, hey, everybody support this. It's going to stick a finger in the eye of the right or the left or the Christians or the women or whatever. I think these movies should be made just like any other movie that someone wants to make. And they can be as biased as they want. All movies can. But you cannot. We can't have a world, and I don't want to talk about entertainment if we have to live in a world where you have to then look and go, oh, well, okay, was this purely just the success that it was because there was a political agenda outside it, with a political campaign outside it, and this was a way to send a message without ever actually interacting with the art? Have I seen this movie? No. From what I hear, it ain't great. Some people like it, some people don't. That's what we should be talking about. Was it a good movie? Was it not a good movie? And here's why we think or feel that. Then your political views can come up for all sorts of reasons. But the idea of, yeah, we're going to make things that are going to be indicators. We're going to buy 20 tickets all by ourselves just to show them, to own the libs or whatever weird phrases people use on the internet now. So I think that's why it's toxic. I don't know if the film is, but I think it represents something that I really, if I saw this stuff happening on the other side, I would be just as annoyed. If people are like, oh yeah, we're all gonna buy tickets for Amelia Perez or whatever, whatever movie is seen as the big liberal left wing movie of the moment. To hell with that. Buy the ticket, watch the movie, make your assertions. That's what this art is there for. It's not to be used as a pawn by people who have big and very, very, very remedial and silly agendas usually.
Yeah,
Rant over.
which is we'll be back in a short time. We're going to set a ad, and which goes we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
All right. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, new setup in OBS, Paul. A few little bugs to work out there. Yeah. I think my super extra long rant gets the point across. Paul, I know that we mostly see eye to eye on this, and we probably just have a few different flavors of, what we find more or less irritating. But I am obviously slightly enraged that this could be a feature that we have to start talking about more as movies come out where these manufactured culture wars are overriding them. And that's not a good future.
Is it to essentially try to indoctrinate more people into the idea of like, certain ways of thinking and stuff? These are the kind of views which I say this, they are already in my repertoire of critiquing movies. Movies have secret meanings and stuff like that before. And also fan theories have also kind of suggested that there's more deeper meaning in certain elements of movies and stuff. Um, but the intent and action are the most important two things for me when politics kind of creep in to a movie or a TV show is this intently harming people?
Yeah.
Is the intent to belittle, or that kind of thing? That's where we'll have to start looking into it. Now we also have an issue. We are in a position of wanting to comment on the entertainment industry at large. As that position will happen, we will have to go to see films that we may not end up agreeing with for how it's created, the people who created it, and stuff like that. We will still do that. It is
Yeah.
kind of our YouTube jobs. Um, will we talk about the kind of as you say, the false um, kind of kind of us against them thing? I think it's more in the fact that that will happen a bit more. But in the sense of kind of going, why are you trying to do this? Why are you trying to divide people over, like, this particular film?
Yeah.
Um, this story is very basic. It has a very kind of lovely storyline of kind of like, good versus evil, and
Yeah.
good versus evil in the sense of that it is from a morality that we can all get behind, kind of thing. It's Yeah, so that's I just wanted, from my view, I will probably still force myself to watch certain films that I probably do not agree with. But I feel that it is a obligation for Heroes 8 and stuff like that, that I do that so that I can help inform and entertain the audience. And I think
And how else can you have an opinion on something? Because you can't assume too much in advance about a movie's content. That's or a TV show's content. I think knowing enough about a story is not the same as actually watching the movie.
I found that I might be muted.
No, no, you're all right, Paul.
Okay,
It's
cool.
sorted. Yeah, I'll explain that one to you after. Yeah, this we've apologies for any technical difficulties, folks. Yeah, Paul, we might have missed the first couple of sentences after the break. Yeah, so anybody watching live, you're getting to see this because we're going to have to cut out a section of this now, Paul, unfortunately. But your point still remains solid. I think we can all agree it's just saddening that we've got this kind of extra layer, because I really did enjoy the conversation that we had previously about separating art from the artist as far as non-political views, let's say, controversies and things like that, where you can't know everything or you can't fully know whatever it might be. Whereas a political view publicly stated and reaffirmed by someone is very, very different. I don't think I don't want to watch things that only conform to my view. In fact, the exact opposite. I enjoy watching things that challenge. And quite often, if done well, they've ended up being my favorite things. I don't think um, I don't think the show business, is going to benefit in the long term if institutionally the trolls keep getting fed. And those trolls are amplifying the messages. Lisa made a point that it's not just about political views. It's about when people are being dehumanized. Remember that every side has a different view to the others. So what I might see as someone saying something that's incorrect or bad or dehumanizing, they may think they're completely in the right and think what I'm saying is what I'm saying is murder. Like there's plenty of examples of where people just are not going to see eye to eye. In entertainment, there should be ways to open dialogue. It's just that simple. Now, can I say that I will just not, I won't jive with certain people because I think their viewpoint is despicable? Yes. But if we start dragging the whole entire movie, TV, entertainment experience down to that level at the earliest opportunity at all times, I think we're screwed. We're going to basically kill the golden goose here. Because the thing that could help people understand each other when they can't find another way to understand each other or show each other their perspectives, if we take that away, then I don't know how the world's going to heal ultimately. Because maybe it's just because this is what I'm into, I think movies and entertainment are a great way for people to show their perspective and learn other people's perspectives. And maybe that will soften it so that we can get to those important discussions that I think, is at the heart of what Lisa's saying, where people are doing things that are actively hurtful. They just may not see it themselves why or how. And then there are people who will know that they are and they just don't care. And as far as I'm concerned, those people can float off into space any day that they want. We can live without people who actively want to hurt and to hate. But yeah, I don't see this resolving itself because I've just ranted at you on YouTube, Paul. But I do see us probably having to now and again throw in a couple of lines going, hey, look, we know X, Y, and Z about what we're about to talk about, but we're going to have to put that aside and talk about the actual point that we're, supposedly supposed to be making.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say is that our personal views of certain movies and stuff like that will have to be kind of or our personal views of going to see something that might have to be a little bit overwritten specifically for the kind of being able to go and experience it and stuff like that first, particularly for Heroes Out and stuff like that. So,
I think it's
um,
it's fair, Paul, to call out Lisa's comments, and I don't think I should be the one to read them back to me.
okay. Sorry, Patrick. That is BS. If anyone thinks that people don't have a right to exist because they're queer or a person of color or from a particular place, then it doesn't matter how much they think they're right, especially if they're putting their money where their mouth is and actively harming those people. So
Yeah. Is anything in what I said confusing, Lisa, that I think those people are hateful and horrible and don't really have a place in our society? So I think this is my point, that you can't even have these discussions where people will hear you out, let's say, to go, everybody thinks that their viewpoint is right. That's why we need mediums to help people understand each other. So maybe the hateful people can be the ones that are possible, can be less hateful, and we can maybe bring people together rather than going straight to that, which is, that's a pretty divisive take in and of itself. That I'm talking shit by saying people should try and find common ground and stop hurting each other because hurting each other is bad.
I think that's the key point that I think you were trying to make was that
Yeah,
it's about opening entertainment should be used as an opening a dialogue essentially to people that we do not have the same political views or kind of ethical kind of
yeah,
rules. So, but we aren't saying that particularly if a movie is essentially obviously funding money into anti queer or anti minority kind of fundings and stuff like that.
yeah.
I don't think we'll actively kind of put our
No,
money towards
I'm not
towards
supporting
anything like that.
hateful speech. I'm not supporting hateful content. When I said everybody has the right to come from their own bias, that applies to everyone. The people you agree with and the people you don't. But I also don't think that producing something hateful, be it directed at you or directed away from you, is ever good. Like I firmly don't believe that people should be attacking each other, not just on the things that I think. I just don't think people should be attacking each other. And I hate to say it, Lisa, but that's a pretty good example of attacking somebody. So I guess maybe this is a timely episode because we're sort of proving it in real time, which is a shame.
Which is I think yeah no I think that yeah opening a dialogue is very important, but then action and intent is where kind of I guess the line is drawn,
Yeah,
kind of thing. So, but yeah, I think
I
that's
think that covers it.
uh, yeah, I think we'll end it there. Which is once again we yeah, it's separating art from artist and kind of things. Our views are very particularly, which is humanist, I guess, would be probably the best way to describe it. And we do look at the intent and action
Yeah.
of of certain people in the entertainment industry to kind of make our judgment calls. But yeah, which is like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, comments down below, which is we'll definitely love to engage more with the audience and everything like that. And do you have anything else to add, Patrick?
No, no, I just want to say down with hate, down with racism, down with homophobia, sexism, and all of those things that I hope it's pretty obvious that I would think. So, Paul, I think maybe next time we'll go back to talking about whether or not Fast and Furious is really just a Star Trek ripoff.
Which is uh, no, I don't think so. I
Yeah,
think we'll see. Our next one will probably be a little bit less lighthearted or a little bit more lighthearted.
yeah.
Um, but anyway, oh,
Go for it.
I've been
Who've you
Paul.
been?
I've been Paul,
I've been Patrick, and we've been Heroes Out.
and thanks very much.
See you next time.